Occupy Wall Street has officially engendered a full-scale right-wing freakout from the people on the right who have made themselves responsible for defending the specific policies that are now being protested against. People who have been advancing and defending policies that advance the interests of the richest 1% of people in the country. Those folks are now in full panic mode.
I, for one, am increasingly concerned about the growing mobs occupying Wall Street and the other cities across the country.
Sowing class envy and social unrest is not what we do in America.
You think that's what the
president is doing that. I think he's preying on the emotions of fear, envy, and anger, and that is not constructive to unifying America.
My parents, they never played the victim card. My parents never said that we hope that the rich people lose something so we can get something. I don't have a lot of patience for people who want to protest the success of somebody else.
Capitalists. If you think that you can play footsies with these people, you're wrong. They will come for you and drag you into the streets and kill you. They will do it. They're not messing around. Those in the media, and I say this, I am included in this, they will drag us out into the streets and kill us. If you're wealthy, they will kill you for what you have.
You know, Glenn Beck still exists. That was apparently him on his radio show today. They're coming to kill you! After the... Never mind. I'm not going to get into the mind of Glenn Beck. Never mind. The right is going to try to make this movement seem super scary, right? They don't even need Glenn Beck, but Glenn Beck helps. And people can be scared by protest in general, absolutely. You can use that to scare people, particularly if police continue to use brutal tactics against the protesters. That itself can make the protesters seem scary. Counterintuitively, if police are beating people up and using pepper spray on people, it can make those people who the police are abusing seem like scary people. We have seen this before in the past. But the idea here, the message that the protests are promoting, is not only a simple one to say, it is a simple one to understand. Case in point, Friday night's Bill Maher show on HBO experienced what was apparently, at least anecdotally reported to be, the first ever standing ovation given to a comment by a guest on that show. On stage with Bill Maher was former Democratic Congressman Alan Grayson of Florida, former George W. Bush Communications Director Nicole Wallace, who you've seen on this show, and over on the right, a conservative writer and satirist named P.J. O'Rourke. After Congressman Grayson gave a rather eloquent description of the problems raised by Occupy Wall Street, the critique they have been raising, things like Wall Street's financial grip over both political parties and what hasn't happened since the financial crisis caused by Wall Street in 2008, P.J. O'Rourke tried not so much to denounce the movement as a whole, but rather to just mock it. And Congressman Grayson, mercilessly, it was a move that did not end well for P.J. O'Rourke and ended very well for Congressman Alan Grayson.
Get the man a bongo drum. They found their spokesman. Okay.
Well,
take your shoes off, get a bongo drum, forget where to go to the bathroom, and it's yours.
Listen, if I am a spokesman for all the people who think that we should not have 24 million people in this country who can't find a full-time job, that we should not have 50 million people in this country who can't see a doctor when they're sick, that we shouldn't have 47 million people in this country who need government help in order to feed themselves, and we shouldn't have 15 million families who owe more on their mortgage than the value of their home, okay, I'll be that spokesman.
Oh, look, they're standing in the audience. Former Democratic Congressman Alan Grayson of Florida joins us next. Joining us tonight for the interview is former Congressman Alan Grayson of Florida. Mr. Grayson represented Florida's 8th District from 2009 to 2011. Congressman Grayson, thanks very much for being with us. It's nice to see you again.
Thank you.
You have and have always had a knack for saying things in a way that connects with people. Sometimes you upset your critics, but you definitely always enthuse your supporters. The Occupy Wall Street protest also seemed to really be connecting with people, despite a real campaign on the right to portray them as scary. What do you think is resonating so much here?
I think that they have their eyes open, and more people are seeing the scales fall from their eyes as well, because the Occupy Wall Street people are saying, first, that there's no accountability on Wall Street. They wrecked our economy. Years ago, they took a healthy economy and they gave us 9%, 10% or more unemployment. And they destroyed 20% of our national wealth in the course of just 18 months. from the middle of 2007 till the end of 2008, destroyed 20% of our national wealth accumulated over the course of 2 centuries. And nobody's been prosecuted for it. Nobody's been indicted. Nobody's been convicted. So first, there's no accountability. The second thing is that they've created a system that is enormously unequal. And the result of that is that people are struggling to find a job, to pay their bills, to pay their rent, to pay their credit card bills. According to Wikipedia, there are only 5 countries in the entire planet that are more unequal than the United States in the distribution of our wealth. And that's a system that Wall Street created, that Wall Street maintains, and that Wall Street enforces. And the way that they enforce it is the third gripe. The third gripe is that Wall Street controls and dominates our political system. One party is a wholly owned subsidiary of Wall Street, and the other party caters to Wall Street all too much. So people have got into the situation right now where they feel that the system is completely unresponsive, and they're driven deeper and deeper into debt and misery.
With a movement with that kind of message, how do you think it ends up playing out and affecting American politics more broadly? Not even necessarily in strict electoral terms, but how does it change the framing of issues? I mean, the right is trying to denounce the existence of protests at all as mobs and social unrest. Glenn Beck today ranting about how people are going to be dragged from their homes and killed in the streets. The kinder, softer version of that on the right is to say that the protesters are motivated by class envy and class resentment dividing the nation. The right is reacting to this in slightly hysterical terms. That implies to me that people have actually got a message here that the right is worried about.
Well, I think that Glenn Beck is right. It's only a matter of time before they do take him away, but not the way that he means, you know, in a straitjacket, I think is how they'll take him away. That much is obvious. But fundamentally, ask yourself, what people want is solutions to their problems, and what is either side offering in the next election? People don't see any solutions to their problems. You know, as I said earlier, there's 24 million people in this country who can't find full-time work. There's 50 million people in this country who can't even see a doctor when they're sick. They want to know what's being done about this. What is going to help them in their ordinary everyday lives? And they're desperate for solutions to those problems. The right certainly isn't offering any. You heard Herman Cain. His answer is get a job. Well, it's not that easy. You know, if one person's out of work, maybe that one person can find a job. But if 24 million people are out of work, that's just not possible. The economy has been grossly mismanaged by Wall Street and by others, and people see that Wall Street is running our economic policy, that big oil is determining our energy policy, and that the military-industrial complex is determining our foreign policy and miring us in these endless, costly wars. And people are just fed up. So what do? What's left to do? What is the one thing that you can still do as a human being? You can go someplace. You can go someplace, and in this world of the internet, you can show yourself. And that's what the people on Occupy Wall Street are doing. They're doing the one last human thing left. They're going somewhere.
Showing yourself and also finding each other, I think. Congressman Alan Grayson, right. Thank you so much for being here tonight and talking to us about it. I miss talking to you, sir. We'd like to have you back soon if you don't mind.
It would be a pleasure, Rachel. Thank you.
Thanks.